Hey, I'm Adam Orth. Welcome to the Game Maker's Notebook Special Edition from Lake Como, Italy. I'm here today with Berkley Egenes of Xsolla. Glad you could be here with us today. Um, I think we've got a lot to get through today and some really good stuff, but can you tell us and our audience a little bit about Xsolla and what the company does?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having us here. It's been a pleasure. I'm honored to be a sponsor here in Tice Europe and Lake Como. So, Xsolla, we're a video game commerce company. We specialize in providing services to video game developers of all sizes in all regions around the world. And we operate as a merchant of record on behalf of the developer to provide commerce experiences. We're able to accept payments in over 200 geographies around the world, 700 different plus payment methods, 130 different currencies, and we support in over 25 different languages from ops and support services that these developers need and help as they launch a game. It could be somebody from Italy and they want to take their game to, say, Japan or Korea or Southeast Asia. We're able to provide those services for them so that they can be successful. We manage all the back end, hard, challenging stuff, the non-creative things. Let the creators, the developers focus on what they do great. Beautiful, immersive, special games that everybody enjoys, and from the visual and the engagement perspective, let us handle the accepting the payments for them on behalf, and then be able to handle that throughout all their different geographies where they want to go and distribute their game.
I can tell you as a game developer, I don't want to do any of that stuff at all. I want to make the game.
Sure, and it's all about the business. Like, you want to say make something very cool, something creative, but at the end of the day, you can create a business, and we can help make that possible for you.
Yeah, as a multiple game studio founder myself, the first time I did it, the reality of actually not being able to make video games because you have to do all the other stuff was a hard slap in the face.
For sure.
And it's great that there's companies like yourself out there helping developers out because making games is incredibly hard. So what do you do at Xsolla? What's your goal? Sure about that.
I'm the Chief Marketing and Growth Officer at Xsolla. My job is to connect games with their community to help market in our services that we have to game developers throughout the world. We do sponsorships, we do partnerships with different organizations such as DICE. You'll see it at a lot of different trade shows around the world. Really just, it's about connecting with the community and my team from a global perspective. We're located all over the globe to support the different regions to really make that connection possible and do an outreach, and we'll connect with our business development teams and bring the games into the ecosystem at Xsolla to be able to help integrate. We'll start that process with everybody. And then on the back end, once the game starts going forward, getting ready to launch, that will help from a direct-to-consumer engagement platforms that we have with XLA, our Xsolla Mall, and this other services that we have so that you can help market, promote your game as well. So it's a little B to B to C, essentially, is what goes off about business, all of them all together, and make that connected tissue, because we're always thinking at the end of the day, how do we get you as your game to your consumer, and how can we help throughout that whole life cycle?
So tell me what equal access means. What's equal access? How does that work?
Sure. It's in our ethos and our mission to provide equal opportunity, equal access to all game developers. It doesn't matter where you're located, how big, how small you are. Everybody gets classified in like a AAA, mid-tier, indie kind of conversation based on where you are. A lot of it's financials, it's number of people you have, number of games you shipped. But we're about providing equal opportunities to monetization, to commercialization, to projects, to economics that are possible in all of these different regions. And we hear from everybody, and this is what we love being at these events, is we listen. We do less talking, more listening, understand what people are looking for, what their challenges are, so we can go back. We'll take information back to our product team and take it to our account management team to really understand and help modify, create a new solution, create another opportunity to go do that. But it's really, doesn't matter where you are, the size of your organization, we're here to help and help support and help you to be successful as a game developer throughout your journey and your maturation process as you go through that product lifestyle. It could be, a quick burn and turn, simple mobile game to one that we were hearing stories about here today at the conference, and it took 8 years for the game to be produced. Challenges, opportunities that go into it. That's a big immersive experience. So it really doesn't matter how big or how small the game is. That we want to provide those opportunities and be able to help take the game developers where they want to go, to different geographies, or be able to go cross-platform to for players to play and purchase their games across multiple platforms as well.
What are some of the, can you tell me about some of the projects that you guys worked on recently that have had an impact in the game industry, and kind of how that connects the company to developers in a successful way?
Sure. No, that's a good question. There's been a lot, particularly here in Europe, a lot of discussion around mobile games. DMA just came out earlier in the year, announcement of providing opportunities for the mobile game developers to monetize outside the App Store. Really, it's about it's huge opportunity, what's going on, to where we always say, enable the player to play on the mobile device, make that easy. And then also from a monetization perspective, provide opportunities to make that purchase online. So web shops, we launched our web shops over 2.5 years ago. We've had over 450 web shops that we've launched with game developers around the world. And we're seeing significant traction in that offering and that solution, that we're seeing game developers, they're having higher profit margins, they're having more engagement, they're seeing more players get engaged. They'll have a couple of game developers we've talked to that their community is so active, they know the game is supposed to be doing their offer for the weekly on a Thursday. If they miss it for whatever reason, the community will reach out and they're like, yo, where's my offer? Then they come in weekly, make purchases online, and then go play on the mobile device. And then it's still sometimes, while they're in the game action as well, they're gonna make that purchase still in the App Store. Because they don't want to interrupt their session. They just keep going. So everybody's winning in this process. And it's about collaboration and providing opportunities for the developer to go, okay, there's a different way how to do this. Everything's 100% compliant that we're doing, and helping enable these developers with terms of service. Things change. You wake up in the morning, there's a new rule, there's a new regulation, but we have to stay on top of that for the developers because it's tough for them. Like, I'm just trying to do my game, next patch notes, and do everything that you're gonna release, and to be able to be on top of it. Oh, by the way, you have to do this in the App Store. We help it.
Yeah, you're describing a daily nightmare.
Yes,
For
100%
there.
And that's a challenge we look at. Is like, what is a core challenge that we see in the ecosystem, and we go build a solution around that opportunity to go to it. So we were a bit ahead of the curve on that, and we foresaw this coming. And it's been, about 2.5 years since we've really been pushing and enabling these developers through the web shops to be able to have that additional monetization opportunity. And you're seeing profit margins go up, more game development, which with more profits, then the next games can be, if you're a multi-game publisher, you can apply that to your next game and get that going to faster market.
So one of the things that developers depend on is, in all areas of development and their business, is collaboration. So how have you guys forged some really unique and helpful collaborations with developers that have kind of impacted the industry?
Sure. So we look at it as being an extension of the development team. We really get in, build the relationship, listen to the challenges. It's not cookie cutter approach, and we apply one solution to everybody. It's how do we update that? How do we integrate? It's one of the things we looked at with our PayStation solution, and offered that, and did a revamp in the last year to provide customization for it. So you're in the game experience, you're in your branded opportunity. We heard this challenge loud and clear. Players go through the process, they go online and make the purchases of what they want to do for skin, bundle pack, whatever going on, particularly if it's a free-to-play game. We customize that so it really fits into the game ecosystem, and not like a big pop-up that comes up and it's a third party you're giving money to. It's all in the experience of the game, and the players stay more engaged. You're seeing higher cart conversion that goes into, which is a big challenge. You'll have drop off a lot of times, and cart abandonment is a challenge, but that has significantly improved those transaction rates that we're seeing with game developers because we integrated into it. So that's a collaboration that came out of partnering and listening to game developers as well. And then we also work with other third parties that like, hey, you need help on user acquisition, or you need help on retention. Different partners that we'll bring into the conversation to help. And that's one of them, like game analytics we announced earlier this year at GDC, partnership with group out of Europe here to really help mobile game developers really understand data points across the different touch points. So you're looking at data AI, you're looking at your web traffic. There's not a consistent dashboard that they're able to go because you're a game developer. Here's your development, then here's your windows of this dashboard. Here's this other one. This screen up here looks like a stock exchange ticker. Yeah, you got all this information. So what does it mean? So you can make real tangible decisions based on real quantifiable data across your ecosystem.
So that's pretty like, I mean, what you're offering game developers is pretty future forward.
Yes.
So what is the company's vision for the future of mobile games and the industry?
Sure. We're looking at it. Gaming's gonna be more immersive, more expansive. They're gonna look at new technologies where we're gonna go. You know, Web3 is here, and we like to call it Web 3D and creating Web 3D experiences online. And you're gonna see that with games. You're gonna see that with the game developers are coming into it. So what we're seeing a lot in that space too, as well, is gaming is leading that charge. Then you're starting to see the movie industry. You're seeing CPG products and other folks as well coming in and listening and what's going on. And we're building these solutions and these opportunities for game developers to come into it. We're going to see more of that, and that's happening. And that true like 360 on the internet. Nobody can own it. The internet, like it's just not possible in like what it was made for, like democratized experiences online. We're able to provide that experience, and we're going to see that more and more games pushing that way in that direction and having these 3D experiences online. That's one thing we see from the future coming into it. And then the big thing about inclusivity, everybody being having the opportunity to play. Doesn't matter where you're located. You could be in Southeast Asia, you could be in Sub-Saharan Africa, very different, or United States or here in Europe, very different technology that's available in those regions around the world, but be able to provide that experience in modifying. It could be, all right, we're mobile in Africa, Southeast Asia, or it is going to be mobile here as well. But you look in Europe, it could be more, hey, we need to be focused on PC and web version of it as an experience. We're providing that if you go cross-platform to be able to enable that to where you're going to solve those technology challenges that people have, would provide that exclusivity and that opportunity. You're going to see a lot more of that coming.
I mean, it's hard not to agree with everything you just said. I mean, that's a pretty holistic outlook on things, and I definitely see a lot of those things happening in the game industry. So it's great to see you guys kind of tackling that head on.
It's not going to be an easy task because there's localization requirements, different things that are going to go on that are unique to every region. And game developers are like, I just want to create a game.
Yeah.
Help me go everywhere, or help me go to this region. And we're able to centralize that and provide that opportunity for them. And from a distribution perspective, we'll be able to monetize. And like you think about it, and there's a lot of unbanked players. They don't bank accounts.
Yeah.
How do you do that through a digital world experience? How can you create that? And what's going on? A big issue in Brazil. That's why we partner with Pix and those guys down there to really enable that opportunity. As players use that experience to pay for everything. So why not with games? Same thing with digital. I mean, the digital wallets appear here in Asia. I feel like Asia was very much ahead of the curve on this, and we're kind of going the other way around and finally coming to the West in a wider adoption and acceptance. So how are we going to apply that to gaming? How are you going to integrate that opportunity together? So just think about those things. And we're very bullish on the growth of the industry as a whole. We're seeing growth opportunities. You may say, and we just sat in a BC meeting, and like there's challenges that
That was a good one.
then opportunities are real, like what's really been going on in the last 5 years, pre-COVID, post-COVID, during COVID, as we go forward and going into it. But we're seeing a lot of growth and a lot of the opportunities. The partners that we are working with are growing their business consistently. We're seeing those numbers over and over.
So one of the things that developers love is, a trusted partner and take X, Y, or Z
Right.
off their plate, or at least help them organize the plate anyway.
Right.
And it's really helpful when you have those people in your corner who've been through a lot in the industry. And, when you have that shared experience, you kind of like been through it, a bunch. It makes the trust when you're partnering up with a company and very important. So like, what kind of challenges have you had
Sure.
in your career that you're bringing to all this and kind of helping developers overcome those problems and get their games out?
Right. It's one of the biggest things is always technology changes. In marketing perspective, you have to be up on your game on the tech. What's going on? Where the direction's going? The traditional, hey, throw a 30-second spot out there and hope and pray doesn't work. Like it's all metrics based. What's your return on ad spend? What is the conversations you're having? And so we have like the cost per acquisition models all this time and have those conversations, but have that with the developer. They want to get down to cents on the dollar that it takes to bring somebody over. But the acquisition's expensive. You look at a lot of the mobile game developers out there because the eyeballs that are going on and the fight for thumbs, as we like to call it, because you're playing a game. But it's the big games are spending millions, if not billions of dollars to keep up with the pace and you continue to acquire. It's not cheap to go able to do that. But what is the right tech to go do? What are the right platforms to go figure that out? Hey, it was a while back, it was like, put everything on Facebook. Well, that's just one of the platforms now as you go forward. It's where you can engaging. We're on Discord, we're on Twitch, we're on different with influencers from how you can communicate and integrate with the influencers into the programs and what tech is available to support those guys and make it easy. And it was like, I don't know who to call to go to. We hear that from a developer all the time. And so one of our platforms with the Xsolla Partner Network, it helps enable that, helps bring in thousands of creators that we work with and into our platform. You can give recommendations. You can go integrate with the program. And it's more than just doing a referral link and tracking. It was like, what's the right folks that you can get engaged with? But really looking at the technology that's available. It's been in marketing for over 20 years and it's completely evolved. It seems like every 2 years there's some evolution, something that's going on, getting on top of. Now AI, machine learning, what is that really doing? We use it from everything from creative production, copywriting, and then how do you go distribute that and learn from the information that comes back and then refresh and send it back through the system so that we can get better, more efficient, more creative as we go. There'll be something else in 6 months that we'll be evaluating and putting into it, but really just being on top of our game constantly has been one of the growth periods and going into it. You have to, in marketing and my role too as well, you have to be continually learning yourself and applying things, and don't be afraid to make a mistake or to break something. We call it, let's go break some eggs. You're gonna break some eggs and make an omelet, right? So figure out some things, test, A/B test, looking at everything and learn from those lessons and then double down on what's working and pull back on what's not from an engagement perspective.
How is it? What's the approach that you guys have when you talk to a developer who wants to work with you versus, from someone who's just making a game by themselves? It's their first time to a group of really seasoned
True.
developers. Like how do you guys manage that so that no matter who the developer is, they get the best out of Xsolla?
So we look at the whole life cycle. We call it the ecosystem of a developer, and where they go from ideation to build to where they should be launching, where should they be doing pre-sales, where should we be doing on Steam, should we absolutely like really looking at the whole journey, because everybody follows a similar journey that goes through that process. It might be compressed for some, and it could be some are 8 years, others are, hey, we need to burn and turn on 30 days because we're doing iterations on simple casual games on a mobile platform. So really looking at that, and we use the same principles on the ecosystem and where they're at in the life cycle, but really get in and customize the experience. It could be you and your buddies, from the dorm room that came up with ideas. We have lots of conversations like that. And then we're into a AAA conversation and what's going on. Okay, you're way down here. Now we're uber focused on when you do monetization for the mobile or cloud. We want to go distribute in the cloud and do testing in the cloud from a cloud gaming perspective, really using that from a UA example, and then bringing somebody over and doing the acquisition and making that purchase online, go play the game and experience it. So it's very similar principles that we have, and give the same attention to you and your dorm room buddies as the AAA conversation. But really, we outline this whole ecosystem that we see, and then so we plug in at different points in time. Some of them may be like, hey, we're not ready. And so we'll continue to have the conversation, help them out. We have a lot of Q&A going back and forth. We met a lot of people at GEC this past year, and we're still having conversations with them. We met them at Gamescom. I was like, where are you at in the process? And like, we're still in the creative. We're still not yet so vertical slice. We're going through pre-A, post-A funding and experiences. So we'll figure out where they're at and then go help and insert ourselves where it makes the most sense.
So you must have like a lot of touch points with the community in this process.
Sure.
Like, walk me through how that looks and how, what your guys, what are your goals and your theory around community? Because you have to actually, as a developer, you have to be talking about these things with your community in a certain way from a developer standpoint.
Right.
But there's also, a way to go about it through a platform or service
Sure.
way. Like, how do you guys approach that?
So we look at different channels. We do things like this, like podcasts and different conversations which we want to engage with the developer community. Lots of sponsorships that we do and really curate our story and work with folks. Work with people like Deconstructural Fun. We're a great podcast. Those guys have been doing a good job and just getting to the business aspect of things. But then also is one of the big ones is the events that we're at. Is really we host dinners. We do little happy hours, or one of the big things we've seen is just hosting an open house. Like, we're here, Q&A, frequently asked questions. Come bring it into a conversation. We did that at South by Southwest in Austin. It was a really successful opportunity to just bring people together. It's amazing what happens when you bring some food and coffee. The people just want to talk and listen and what's going on. What are you working on? What's going on? You can immediately bring two people together. There's a conversation. So we had one of those in Austin. It was a developer came in and it was like, hey, I'm looking for these types of games. I'm like, oh, hold on a second. You two come talk to each other. We step out of the conversation. It's just about building that community. No big drive, no sales pitch, anything. You want to bring people together, just talk and communicate. And then we listen and we get feedback from those guys and like what's happening, where they want to go. It's about listening more than anything. I know we're talking here and I say don't do a lot of talking, but it's like listen to what's going on in the community, what they're saying, what their challenges are, and then take that back and then apply those lessons. So we have a lot of intake, come back to you. Here's the feedback. Here's our recommendations, which you can go think about it. And then the cycle continues. And the next thing you know, you're integrating with that partner. We're bringing them online and you're like, okay, we're going to accelerate where we thought we were going to go because we were going to spend more time doing this ourselves. And we realized this is a huge task of connecting payments on the back end to our game. We don't want to deal with all this stuff. Xsolla comes in and helps out in those scenarios.
I've been to quite a few of those dinners and mixers. They're always quite fun, and I always come away with them with, oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, every time.
And the fun thing too is everybody's looking for thumbs and eyeballs and engagement, and indirectly you're competing, but not really. Like, this community just wants good games to be created and wants to share ideas. And we'll see developers who never had talked to each other before come to here and like Cuomo and having a conversation, and you're like, next thing you know, they're sharing and riffing on ideas and how to make, they could be two completely different genres of games, but there's some similarities on business practices or distribution, or hey, do you try this from a UA perspective? And they say, no, I haven't. So let's, they'll have that. Everybody wants to win. That's the thing that I really haven't seen it in a lot of industries. Most of them are fighting. It was like, no, we're the biggest, like we have the best 5G service. We have this. You hear that telecom, you hear that CPG, trying to like split why you're a little bit better. But this industry just wants great content, great games to be created because we know that we will all win.
Yeah,
it's
quite different than
collaborative, it's family, it's not pun. It's not fake. It is the real. There's real people, amazing individuals, of all different backgrounds and directions, and you can have the conversations here. So I love this conference too, because there's so many different people here. It could be a service provider, it could be a game developer, it could be a publisher, it could be a investor, and you can grab people and like literally go, hey, you two get together, or hey, I have this question for you, and it's completely open book. And but most industries be like, no, I won't talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're my competition. I want to push you away or push you down. Everybody's here. Let's lift everybody up.
Yeah, I mean, as developers, we definitely don't have those kind of barriers. Like, there's no competition.
Right.
I mean, there might be at the higher levels at publishers and things like that, but there's really no competition between developers. And when you have a group of developers get together and they're all just talking about their games, you always walk away with, oh, I have a new group of friends because of that conversation, or I understand how to make my game a little bit better because of what we talked about. And I think that's one of the things that you guys enable really well, because you're obviously big presence here at Dice, but not just in Lake Como. There's a long history of support between Dice and Xsolla, and it's really it's challenging to find good partners and good supporters, but it always just seems to work with you guys. So like, what is the significance of that relationship, and specifically, what are you guys looking to accomplish here in beautiful Lake Como?
So there was one thing we had the cooking contest yesterday, and it was like looking in the room. There was a ton of new faces, some of which that we hadn't seen before.
Actually, I'll break in and say I didn't go to the cooking competition because I was in another country, but the point that you just made about a lot of new faces, and I noticed that this morning, just, and it's like the the like cross cut of who's here this year specifically feels a lot different than
Oh, for sure.
than most years.
And it's even different than Dice in Vegas, because the numbers are so much more significant than like Vegas. It's like, oh, there's a shiny toy, let's go to over here and go do something else. But really, everybody's in the sessions, everybody's listening, everybody's talking to each other. And that's one of the things we look forward to, is coming to this one and this event specifically. And it's a more intimate, it's a smaller group, a lot of decision makers, and the collaboration that was happening and people bouncing around, even, post the welcoming event that was last night, and then seeing just, hey, let's grab a drink, let's have a conversation, let's grab some water, coffee, whatever, and just hang out. And people like, what's next thing we're talking about families, where you going background, what's the next travel that you're heading off to. But it's really collaborative here, very inclusive, super diverse group here.
I think I get more out of this than any conference I go to all year. Like, I look forward to it for exactly what you're talking about. It's like I've had more interesting conversations in the last, less than 24 hours
Right.
at this point than maybe all year.
And one of the unique things here too, it's at a different location. I think that you're going to start to see a lot of even the bigger shows evaluating where they are, because they're always in this one location. And everybody's like, it's the same hotel, it's the same venue, it's the same thing every time. So we got to try things differently when we go to those. But this event travels. Essentially, it's not in the same place twice, or it hasn't been. And that's when so you get unique people that'll show up. And I was like, oh, it's easier for me to come to Italy because I live closer by. It's not that expensive for me to travel, being in Europe. And then we'll be in the UK next year. They were talking about earlier today, and having that opportunity, and you'll get more people from, say, Northern Europe will go to that experience as well. And so trying different things, and I think that's one of the things that's unique here about this event that we love, because it's something unique, it's something different every single time, and it's not the same. And people enjoy that, people respect that, and then they're gonna be more open to having that collaborative conversation.
Yeah, it's it's totally unique in that way. And I love it. I love coming to this every year. So before we wrap up,
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, like, if you could point to a couple ways that you think like Xsolla is innovating in the industry, to let people who might not be familiar with you guys and what you do understand how you guys are kind of pushing the envelope in your specific area, and how maybe those things are right for a developer who's looking for that solution.
Yeah, we're always challenging, growing, trying to look at new innovative technologies, new ways to do it. We're always adding payment partners on all the time because we hear the community was like, I need more in Japan. It's been a big focus of ours this past year. More payment methods coming on board, but it's not just bringing them and checking a box. It's like, how are we going to build this technology? How are we going to integrate with Base Station and our payments platform to make that enabled for what's going on over there? We're having the similar conversations in Africa. Big topical conversation right now is huge development. The technology is finally there to be able to provide. So what are the opportunities and solutions that we can provide? Provide access and opportunity for game developers to reach players in Africa. We have calls probably every 2 weeks with somebody, whether it's in different countries there, and like, hey, we need help, we need this challenge, what's going on. So that's one thing we're going to keep pushing. We're looking at mobile. That evolution is going to continue to go. Cross-platform distribution, we call it cross-play, cross-pay. So providing that opportunity for players to play on whatever platform they want and can pay wherever they want to as well, and enjoy the game. You could pause the session and on your mobile device to go play online.
It's such a huge important thing, like, being able to kind of step out of the kind of normal box that
Right.
most game, crossplay. That's a really good way to summarize that. Yeah, I particularly love not being kind of boxed in and
Right.
being able to do it how I want to do it. So I think that's really
And it gives the flexibility. That's the thing, to your point. It's cliche to say think outside the box, and you've heard that said a couple times in some of the presentations today, but really look at where do you want to go? What is that? And you have to have technology to go enable you to go do that. You might have launched it, your game was like, I want to do a PC game, and I want to take it to the lab. Now I want to do mobile. How do I do that? Or you're like, oh man, I got to do another version. I got to port this thing over. It's not the easiest thing in the world to go accomplish that, put that together, but we're here to help. And providing, we're seeing more and more of those opportunities, and so we're advancing our technology to help developers do it. And really, it's not just pull it off the shelf, here you go. It's let's customize this, we'll integrate into your ecosystem of what you're looking to achieve, so we make it easier for you guys. So it's not, no, you have to fit into us. We work with you to integrate into your game and your experience for your players. Again, going back to that whole B to C journey that you see from an engagement that we're able to provide. And then you can come back to us when you're ready to go. Now, hey, I need help with this promotion. I need influencers. I want to put this opportunity on your mall experience, and then you'll be able to promote, and we'll put investment to it as well to promote your game, to be able to come there, make the purchase online, have a unique opportunity, unique landing page that you can use to go promote your game. Really looking at every step of that ecosystem process that we were talking about earlier, and where can we plug in and help you out. So it's not, oh, we don't do that. Here's a way how we can get this done. And you have that conversation, or you bring that challenge to us in the discussion and the continued dialogue and relationship that we have.
so invariably. Tons of game developers who are listening to this podcast are going to have a need for your services.
Sure.
How do they find? So you
can reach out. You can reach out to us at xsolla.com, xsolla.com. Connect with us, schedule a meeting, the conversation. You can hit us up directly through LinkedIn, through our email systems as well. And if you're here at DICE, say hello, grab us. There's a few of us walk around here. We'd love to have conversations with you as well. We'll be in Vegas, back at DICE again, and then we'll have more content and everything out coming out with the Academy. And so we're excited about that. But there's always ways to connect with us, and so we have a conversation and get you connected with the right people as well.
Awesome. Really appreciate taking time to talk to me today. And so, if you're listening, this is really a really great platform that if you're making a game, you should definitely check out. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I know. Have fun at the show. Next.